Hey everyone! Make sure you're enjoying the party because it's not ending anytime soon. Oh yes it will. What the? Ultimate Tenkaichi, what are you doing here? I don't see a problem of being here. No. Sagas? The one and only. After you guys kicked me out, I decided to join these guys. And now we're here to overrule Dragon Ball Games. I wouldn't be so sure about that. What? You guys are... You guys are lifesavers. Yeah, he's fast. Away with you. You pay for this. Here we are, the final era that I want to focus on for Dragon Ball games. If you want to see what the other two eras are, I've already covered those, so check those videos out. However, this era is unlike those two. Many people have mixed opinions on this era, but I'm here to say what the right opinion is. Not really. But if you want to take my word, go ahead. Last time I stopped at Dragon Ball Z Battle of Z, which came out for the PS3 in January 2014. It was the final game in what I dubbed the worst era of Dragon Ball Z games. However, it was not the last PS3 Dragon Ball game to come out. If I said that game in that video, I would be dishonoring it. So the next and final PS3 Dragon Ball game to come out was the first Dragon Ball game in what I call the Renaissance era. In February 2015, about a year after Dragon Ball Z Battle of Z came out, Dimps would come back to the Dragon Ball game scene and develop the first PS4 Dragon Ball game. And that was... Dragon Ball Evolution, the game. Man, I don't even know why I do this. Wait, that was a game? The game to start off this era was not that. This game was probably the most different Dragon Ball game they've developed excluding Dragon Ball Heroes. And this game that I've delayed for this long to reveal is Dragon Ball Xenoverse. This game is cool. After all the years of disappointment after disappointment from the previous era, this is the first game in a long time to actually grab many people's attention. It's a completely different fighting game style from anything we've seen so far. Interesting looking graphics, and the ability to make your own character. Before this game, there was a game called Dragon Ball Online which gave you the ability to make your own character, but that game wasn't available worldwide. So really, this game was the first worldwide, giving you different Dragon Ball races to make a character from. It was so cool at the time. That was probably one of the most appealing things to many people. The gameplay was cool too, not really playing like any Dragon Ball game out there. It was an arena fighter, but it was very different from the Budokai Tenkaichi or Raging Blast series. The amount of characters included was cool too. The story was unlike any Dragon Ball game yet, having a twist to it which is cool. A great OST, a vast selection of stages. The customization in this game was cool. A lot of good things were going on in this game. DLC also existed, but I never owned it. But after all that, it only took a year until all that hype ended. Why would hype end for this game? You may be asking. Or maybe not, because you probably know where this is going. In October 2016, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 was released. Everything I said about Xenoverse 1 just a second ago, forget about that because this game did that, but even better. No one even knew that this series can be this good. Xenoverse 1 really felt like a demo after this game was out. The graphics looks much better than the first game. The gameplay is much better than the first game. There were even some gorgeous looking cutscenes in the story mode. Speaking of story mode, it was a bit similar to the first game, but some moments were added to make it feel different as well. The character roster is so big in this game, but if you haven't noticed, there is DLC in this game. And what that means is take the characters I have and multiply it by something. I don't know the exact number. But yeah, there's DLC in this game and it's still getting new ones. How crazy is that? The most recent characters are from the newest Dragon Ball movie, Dragon Ball Super Hero. Character creation still exists and it has one of the best songs I've ever heard from a character creation. This game's community is very well alive and the game was viewed positively through the Dragon Ball community. I actually haven't played this game in years, so I have no idea what's going on. But this game is far better than what existed in the PS3 era. If you want to play this now, you can, as it's in pretty much every console. Yes, even the Nintendo Switch. Now what?
Dimps is back, so will we see another game from them? Or will we see a new game from Spike Chunsoft? Well, the answer is neither of those, because 2 years later, yes, 2 years, in January 2018, we got Dragon Ball FighterZ. This game is a 2D fighter that no one was ready for. Dragon Ball had its fair share of 2D fighters, but this one blew expectations. It plays like a Marvel vs. Capcom anime fighter with rules from both types of games existing here. This art style is the freshest one we've seen from a Dragon Ball game, since Super Dragon Ball Z at least. I can't tell you enough how good this game looks. Arc System was a great developer to give the Dragon Ball series to, as their specialty is anime fighters. Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2 being the last 3D looking game before they made this one. As you can see from Xrd Rev 2, the art style looks anime like, and FighterZ also shows that type of style being used here. As for the gameplay, this is in my top 5 fighting games ever. It is just so much fun. The game is not too hard to learn, and as with every fighting game, there is a gap between the good players and the casual ones. The character roster is amazing, and yes, there is DLC too.
This time I do have the DLC, sort of.
But it wasn't this big when the game initially launched. Now in terms of the state of the game, I can't say it's dead, but I can't say it's alive either. See, when they announced rollback netcode to this game a while back, that actually made people be like,
you know what? I'll wait until rollback gets added.
So yeah, it's pretty much in a limbo. As for the characters though, that definitely looks like it's done with. So no more new characters. Overall, another great game added to the roster of this era. Personally, it's one of my favorites. In January 2020, CyberConnect 2 came out with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. You would expect to see a Dragon Ball Super game in 2020, but nope. Z it is. This is an open world RPG game like no other Dragon Ball RPG game. There have been Dragon Ball RPG games before, but all of them felt a bit limited. This one's a bigger scale game and it's not bad either. However, I didn't enjoy this game so much. Not because of the gameplay or graphics, no, those are phenomenal. Even the music is great, with it trying to be like the animes. But the problem comes in the story. I've seen the Dragon Ball Z story so many times that I don't really care anymore. The game is fun though, so I may finish it one day. The cutscenes are beautiful too, but at some point in the game, it actually stops having the great cutscenes. I watched a playthrough of this game and some scenes I was excited to see ended up being pretty disappointing. But since this game is the first of its kind in terms of Dragon Ball games, I'll let it slide. DLC exists, as one should expect in this era at this point, and from what I see, it's pretty cool.
You should already know at this point that I don't own the DLC.
If at some point it's decided that CyberConnect 2 will come back and make a Dragon Ball game, it would be cool to see an original Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Super RPG from them. Of course, they aren't only known to make RPGs, but from the Dragon Ball RPGs that exist, they've done a great job. I'd like to see what a person who never experienced Dragon Ball would think of this game. By this point, you should guess that 2 years passed for the next Dragon Ball game to be released. The next game came out on October 14, 2022 worldwide. Yes, you heard me, worldwide. The first one ever as far as I'm aware. The game is called Dragon Ball The Breakers and it was developed by Dimps. It's more of a survival game, which is a cool idea for a Dragon Ball game.
I'm no fan of survival games, but this one looks pretty fun.
It's a smaller scale game compared to the others and it's pretty active right now. I say all that, but I don't even own this game. The game has a slightly different art style from Xenoverse and I like it more, to be honest. It seems like new boss characters get added from time to time, so I can see a character like Zamasu or Baby Vegeta existing one day. But it more or less depends on if people are interested in a game like this for a long time, because if not, why even update it? But I think Dimps is a good developer for this game. After all, they did make Xenoverse 2. All these games are amazing. We may not have as many games as the PS3 era, but I would much rather a better quality game over a mediocre game. All the games from this era, which I should have said earlier, the PS4 era, have a creative twist to the series. Although people really didn't ask for such a thing, no one is really complaining. It's something that Dragon Ball games desperately needed after the PS2 era. Whether you came from the PS3 era or the PS2 era of Dragon Ball games, there is one thing I hope we can agree on: the fact that the PS4 era is most certainly a good era. I ended the last 2 videos after I talked about the game's legacy. However, we're at the verge of a new era. The PS5 came out not too long ago, and you know what that means. Technically, I should have considered Dragon Ball The Breakers as part of a new era. However, I think we haven't seen what the true meaning of the next era is. We actually only got a glimpse of it not too long ago. On March 6, 2023, or maybe the 5th in a different time zone, a new entry of the Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi series was announced.
Just when I thought Spike Chunsoft moved on from Dragon Ball games.
This is the game that will start the next era. Whether it's a good era or another disappointing one is still unknown. However, from what we saw so far from a 5-second teaser, it's a promising one. Now I want to make a wish list of what I'm expecting from a new era. A FighterZ 2 would be nice. This game was so popular, so it would be strange to see them not decide to make a second one with even more content. Xenoverse 3, maybe. I don't see them deciding that they should move on from Xenoverse 2 anytime soon, but I don't think it's impossible for them to decide it's time. However, that probably won't happen for a long time. Something to do with Dragon Ball Super specifically. We don't have a game truly taking the Dragon Ball Super name. Maybe Budokai Tenkaichi 4 will be the first, but since the renewal of Dragon Ball, we never got that. Some sort of crazy new idea would be cool. I have no idea what this could be since it's supposed to be crazy and new. If I say what it should be, that won't be new, will it? And possibly, maybe Dimps won't make a new Xenoverse, but a Budokai game or a sequel to Burst Limit. As I said, Xenoverse 2 doesn't really look like it will end anytime soon. So why not bring one of those 2 series back or something? I don't know, it's not my decision at the end of the day.
And there you have it. All 3 major eras of Dragon Ball games reviewed. I really hold the PS2 era dearly to me, and this era is great. The PS3 era is mainly nostalgic, and I wouldn't really mind going back to it from time to time. All era has defined what Dragon Ball games are like, and every era has brought new fans to it. What there is in store for the future looks already promising, but we have no idea what there can be. I am very excited to see what's next, and I'm just glad that I can live to see it. What do you guys think of the 3 eras in general? Do you agree with me? Or do you have anything else to say about these eras? Do comment down below. Anyways, time for me to wait for the next Budokai Tenkaichi game.